On September 9, 1980, the powerful typhoon Orchid, known in Chinese as Lanhua, raged over the western Pacific. The name sounded almost harmless, but in reality the storm was a destructive force with hurricane-force winds and waves as high as a 5-story building. The ocean turned into a boiling chaos of water and wind, and it was through this watery hell that a massive ship was sailing. It was not just a vessel, but a true steel giant, the MV Haishan. Its length reached nearly 3 football fields. In scale, it could be compared to the Shanghai TV tower if it were laid horizontally. It significantly exceeded the legendary Titanic in size, being about a quarter longer and almost twice as wide. It was the largest merchant ship of the People's Republic of China at the time, with a mass comparable to 4 Titanics. On the bridge was Captain Chen Guocheng, an experienced sailor with 20 years of service. He had navigated through typhoons many times and was confident his ship could withstand any blow. The Haishan was built just 4 years prior at the famous Dalian shipyard, which had supplied the Chinese fleet for decades. The vessel was considered the embodiment of advanced late 70s technology, featuring a double hull, reinforced bulkheads, and powerful pumping systems that made it a virtually unsinkable steel fortress. The captain acted strictly by the rules, reducing speed to a minimum and turning the bow into the waves to minimize risk. A calm message was broadcast. Everything is under control. On board were 44 people, the crew and 2 officers' wives, all professionals including sailors, engineers, and mechanics. In Shanghai, the captain's wife was already waiting. After 2 months apart, they planned to spend a few days together. The ship was finishing a long journey from Vancouver, Canada, carrying iron ore across the Pacific, around the Philippines, toward the southern coast of China to the port of Guangzhou. Only the final miles remained. The Haishan was a new type of universal cargo ship capable of carrying oil, grain, or ore, with the main idea being to never sail empty. There were only 6 such ships in the world, all considered the pinnacle of engineering. By midnight, the ocean had become a boiling cauldron with waves reaching the length of the ship itself, nearly 300 meters of moving water. The ship would soar onto a crest like a roller coaster before plunging into deep, watery abysses. Tons of water flooded the deck as wind turned spray into a horizontal stream hitting with the force of machine gun fire. In the engine room, engineers monitored the steady diesel engines and pumps. In the cabins, some crew members tied themselves to their bunks to avoid being thrown during rolls, while others played cards or read to distract themselves. The typhoon was unpredictable, changing direction several times while weather reports gave conflicting forecasts. The captain chose a course intended to lead the vessel away from the danger zone, but the ocean dictated its own rules. At 3 a.m., radio contact with the Haishan was suddenly lost. There was no distress signal, no SOS, only silence. In the morning, 2 other ships in the area reached port safely, their captains reporting the worst storm of their careers. But the Haishan did not check in after an hour, a day, or even a week. Initially, the Shanghai State Shipping Company did not panic, as radio antennas often fail in severe storms. But after a week, the alarm was raised. Official searches began only 6 days after the disappearance. Military ships, planes, and helicopters scoured the sea for debris, life rafts, or oil slicks, but the ocean was absolutely clean. This defied all known laws. In a shipwreck, something always floats, yet here there was nothing, as if the ship had simply vanished. After 2 weeks, the search was called off with a brief official version. The ship perished in the storm, and no deep investigation followed. The only find was an empty lifeboat discovered a month and a half later, which felt like an insult to the families. Among those who rejected the official version was Liu Zhenghua, who lost his 25-year-old mechanic son. As a lifelong marine inspector, he knew such ships do not vanish without a trace. Liu began his own investigation, discovering that all 6 ships in the series were fleet flagships, but a year and a half later, one of them developed cracks in its bow during a storm in the Yellow Sea. Liu found that all ships in the series had cracks in the same spot and were being quietly recalled for repairs. The cause was cost-cutting. Chinese shipyards, facing competition from Japan and South Korea, used cheaper steel and simplified designs. Liu's reports to the Ministry of Transport and the press were ignored until he helped form a families association. The turning point came in 1986 when another ship in the series was damaged near Hainan Island and wrecked on rocks. An official 6-month investigation followed, but the report published 9 years later claimed there were no structural defects and the Haishan perished solely due to the elements. This was a blow to the truth seekers. In the 90s, data showed nearly 150 bulkers had vanished over 14 years, claiming over 1,000 lives. The families eventually funded a private expedition with a deep-sea sonar to the Haishan's last known position. Within a day, the ship was found nearly intact at a depth of 4 kilometers. After 6 years of studying thousands of images and a 3D model, the truth emerged in 2000. The catastrophe was caused by one small detail: a thin door in the bow section that should have been a reinforced watertight door but was replaced with a standard one due to negligence or cost-cutting. During the storm, a powerful wave smashed the door, allowing thousands of tons of water to flood in within minutes. The bow became heavy, the ship began to dive, and as ventilation systems failed, water entered the holds, turning the iron ore into a heavy sludge. It happened so fast, less than 2 minutes, that no one could send an SOS. This tragedy became a turning point, leading to new international safety standards, reinforced bows, improved hatches, water sensors, and black boxes. These changes have saved thousands of lives. In 2018, a memorial was erected in Shanghai for the 44 victims, and a plaque was placed on the hull 4 kilometers below. The Haishan remains there in total darkness and crushing pressure, a symbol of how one small mistake can destroy a giant ship and how one man's persistence can change an entire industry. Dear viewers, what do you think of this story? Please share in the comments. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Goodbye.